From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Parents who are struggling to get childcare during the pandemic can now get some help. Coming up, learn what's available and how you can tap into those resources.
The Lone Star wildfire means you can no longer travel from here at Old Faithful over Craig Pass down to Yellowstone Lake. I'm John Shearer in the park, and coming up, how that fire is being fought.
Good morning again. Just about 6:30 here, Montana This Morning. Chet, so far lights coming out and it looks like there's some rain across the area a little bit.
We've had some rain in the overnight hours.
Yep.
That's good news. We had some rain yesterday, some gusty winds. That kind of pattern is going to repeat itself today. Good news is it's not going to be as warm either. And then if you like cool temperatures, you're going to love what we're throwing at you next week.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, in fact, some of these temperatures you're seeing now could be some daytime highs by the time we get to next week. Right now in the 50s for the most part. West Yellowstone at 41. There's a nice shot, and you can see the bridgers. The haze is lifted a little bit here in the Bozeman area. Our air quality still listed as moderate for Butte, Bozeman, Dillon. West Yellowstone right now in the good range. We'll continue to monitor that online and on air as well. Low 80s today for Bozeman with those afternoon thunder showers. For Butte, warming up into the upper 70s with those afternoon thunder showers. Details of that from the patio, Cody, in about 10 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you, Chet. Wow, there's the morning coming and hitting me. A Montana pilot was killed fighting the White River fire in Mount Hood, Oregon. Now, Republican Senator Steve Daines' office released a statement offering prayers and condolences to the family of Tom Duffy of Bozeman. Duffy's church said he was a lay leader of the Seventh-day Adventists. The church says Duffy was from Bozeman and played basketball at Montana State University. He is survived by his wife and 3 children. The acting director of communications for the Northwest region of the Forest Service, Suzanne Flory, confirmed Duffy was the only one in the helicopter. The accident happened late Monday. Now, the White River fire is in the Mount Hood National Forest. The helicopter was doing bucket water drops on the fire. The investigation is ongoing.
I can confirm that the deceased individual is a white male adult who was working for a private company contracted to the U.S. Forest Service out of Bozeman, Montana.
MTN News waited to release the name to assure that family had been notified. That fire was started by lightning. Now, the Lone Star wildfire just south of Old Faithful in Yellowstone National Park is nearly 800 acres, but you won't see helicopters dropping water on this fire. MTN's John Shearer reports the fire is being left to itself, at least for now.
Cars just keep streaming in here at Old Faithful in Yellowstone National Park in spite of some of the restrictions due to COVID-19, plus a new path into the famous geyser due to a failing bridge. And now the road south of here to the lake is closed because of smoke from the Lone Star wildfire.
We're not doing any direct attack on the fire, so in other words, we're not right at the flank of the fire, actively digging fire line, doing what we refer to as direct attack. Instead, we're looking at all these management action points, determining if the fire reaches this point, then these are the additional suppression activities that we'll take.
But that doesn't mean crews are just sitting around. Helicopters are patrolling the fire, while on the ground, crews are keeping a close eye out. Backcountry hikers and campers have been evacuated at Shoshone Lake. And at Old Faithful, sprinkler systems on the historic building are being tested, just in case the fire changes direction and poses a threat. And there are other steps.
A lot of it will be saw work where we're going to reduce the fuels and we can limb up trees in the area so the fire can't climb up into the tops of the trees.
We also have a closure protection plan to see when we can open the Grand Loop Road back up, because we know that's impacting visitors' travels, and we're just appreciative of people's patience waiting for the road to open.
So as the winds pick up here in Yellowstone National Park, crews continue to work on measures to protect buildings that could be threatened by the fire. In the meantime, other crews wait and watch to see what this fire does. In Yellowstone National Park, I'm John Shearer, MTN News.
Just about 6:34 now this morning. Child care has become a hot topic as schools get ready to reopen for fall. MTN's Chet Lehman takes a look at some new funding being made available to help parents and providers gear up for the coming school year.
The CARES Act was established by Congress to help businesses and workers make it through the COVID-19 pandemic. One aspect of the economy that did not shut down in the heat of the pandemic was childcare. In fact, many programs had to take in additional children as schools closed for the pandemic. Now the schools are reopening, childcare takes front and center once again. That's why Governor Steve Bullock recently released $50 million in 3 segments to Montana's childcare programs. $30 million will go to parents to help cover the cost of having school-age children in some form of care throughout their school year. The second $10 million will go to a very specific segment of the school-age population.
And special circumstances are for children who are not appropriate for those school-age programs. And to be with a group of other children. And it could be that they have their own health issues, autoimmune health issues, or disabilities or special needs that really don't make them as appropriate for those school-age programs.
That is determined by the parents, and it's a one-time grant of $4,000 that will be given to qualified families for this. The final $10 million will go directly to child care programs who are working to expand or to continue taking care of school-aged children. Arnson Schumacher says that funding will be invaluable to Montana's child care providers. She notes that most do not expect to get rich taking this on as a business, but no one can afford to take a loss. She says the pandemic has brought child care to the front of Montana businesses. She feels it can no longer be considered anything but essential.
People who choose childcare do it because they love kids and they want to make a difference. That financial assistance makes a huge difference.
The best part of this round of the CARES Act funding, the $50 million, is that funds are available right now. But they're only available for a limited time.
Right now. And it's only available through the end of December. That CARES Act sunsets at the end of December. So really, the sooner the better.
In Belgrade, Chet Lehman, MTN News.
Now you can find a link to those grant applications by visiting our websites. Now, if these last 2 weeks have shown us anything, the political conventions this year are very different from years past. Today is the 3rd day of the Republican National Convention, with Vice President Pence speaking tonight. And as our Joe St. George shows us, the Republican approach is not surprisingly angering some Democrats.
The President of the United States.
Night 2 of the Republican National Convention featuring some unconventional political events. The president hosting a naturalization ceremony from inside the White House with the Marines. Using his power as president to pardon a bank robber turned activist. The evening's highlight, an address from the Rose Garden from First Lady Melania Trump, who spoke to those personally impacted by this pandemic.
I know many people are anxious and some feel helpless. I want you to know you're not alone.
Republicans featuring speakers from 2 swing states in particular.
Of the great state of Florida.
2 Florida politicians speaking, 2 business owners.
On a dairy farm in Grantsburg, Wisconsin.
From Wisconsin invited as well. Democrats throughout the night online criticizing the president for using the White House as a political backdrop. Meanwhile, Democratic members of Congress this morning are set to investigate whether Secretary of State Mike Pompeo broke any laws by speaking from Israel. Tonight, Vice President Mike Pence takes center stage with a speech from Fort McHenry in Baltimore. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
6:38 now this morning, just turned at the second there. Chet Lehman.
As accurate as it gets.
My mouth is going rogue occasionally.
It does
for the
happen
early
here
morning,
on
so I called
Montana This Morning regularly. Words are hard. That's our
Words
motto.
are hard.
Words are hard. That is our motto here.
Well, coming up in just a few minutes on Montana This Morning, COVID-19 testing guidelines are changing again. What the CDC is tweaking and what you need to know. But first, here's what you'll see at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, Hurricane Laura getting stronger over the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to be in Texas, where millions are preparing for the storm to make landfall by tomorrow morning. Also, violence escalated overnight in Kenosha, Wisconsin, following the police shooting of Jacob Blake. We're going to hear his distraught parents struggle to describe what the family is now going through. Plus, recent Grammy Music Educators of the Year talk to us about their fears, hopes, and plans for the new school year. And we'll show you how schools are tackling the issue of transportation, the old yellow school bus. In the age of the coronavirus, everything is more complicated. We'll see you at 7.